Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today, what I'm going to do is just light my offset smoker, get it going, and prepare it to make some ribs. However, I wanted to spend a little extra time today on what it takes just to set up this grill and get the fire going and to manage the temperature that you want to have. What I do every time is I thoroughly clean this grill every time and make sure it's good, and I even wash the mats and everything else. So what I normally do is I start with bringing out my Maverick ET372 and getting that set up and ready to go. I put down either what they call a frog mat or a Q mat, lay that down to place my food product on it. I make sure that my element or probe is out there where it can collect the temperature of the grill. I also make sure I have a pan of water in here because the fire does get hot next to the firebox, which is right over here, and it will send then maybe a little bit moisture into the air as the fire is being made. So one of the major important things that I have is make sure your firebox in an offset or the area that you're going to burn your smoke fire is clean. I do this every time. At the conclusion is what I do is I get this thing so that it is completely clean, and that way I can make sure that the airflow is good from underneath. So clean it out every time. It's really worthwhile. Now, the next thing is charcoal. I normally use Royal Oak charcoal because it's a lump charcoal. It's a hardwood lump charcoal made out of oak, and I use this primarily as the base of the fire starting. Okay, so a lot of people just use lump charcoal all the time. Secondly, I use brick charcoal. You don't have to. You can use all lump, or if you choose, you can use briquette charcoal as your pleasure. Now, I happen to buy this outdoor gourmet charcoal on sale at Academy Sports, and this charcoal was like $3 a bag. It was really inexpensive, and it does a nice job. I've used it about 4 times already. I also picked up yesterday this little box from Weber. It has these little cubes in it that you can use to start your fire either with match or some other source. What I do, and I think it's a real good investment if you're going to be a wood smoker, is to buy yourself a torch and use a torch to light it up. Now, this is the Benzomatic TS8000. It has an automatic start and automatic shut-off for me that I can use, which is fingertip operated, and I find this indispensable in starting the fires. So today I'm going to load up the briquettes and the lump, and I'm going to start a fire, and that's the whole purpose of this particular video. Okay, see you in a minute. Okay, I'm going to be right around in a second. I just don't walk real good anymore. I'm getting there. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a nice layer of lump charcoal in. Okay, just enough with this bag. And the next thing I'm going to do is put in some of the briquettes, because the briquette will give you a longer running fire. And that way we will get a better burn. It gets real, stay hotter for a longer time. In the meantime, I'm going to try to install these little white cubes. I'm going to put a few of them around. As you can see, there's just little white cubes. Just place them in here at random, and you know, you got yourself something good going here. Maybe you'll accelerate the fire. And do that. And now I'm going to place some of these briquettes in here as well. Alright, so I've got briquettes, I've got this, I've got lump. Now, you can start this fire with newspapers if you want. There's no problem with that. You don't need anything else more sophisticated. But it seems to me that this is a little quicker and gets it started better. And I think that you get a nice hot, even fire this way. Okay, this will go. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to leave the lid open. I'm going to leave the door open and for about 20 or so minutes, usually to get these all white where they're going and getting nice and warm. And then I'm going to start trying to get the smallest pieces of wood I can on top of these briquettes. I'm going to flatten them down and spread them out a little bit. And they will do that all by themselves. But in this instance, this is really what it takes to get this thing going, and I give it a full air supply at this point. Okay, I'm going to break for now. Okay, it's 30 minutes since I've been here, and the coals on the bottom are really taking off really well. I've got flames still coming off of the fire. It's that hot. And this is when I usually take very small pieces of wood and I just kind of toss them over here. And after a while they will heat up, and when the wood heats up and gets it, all of a sudden it will snap into flame, and this way it goes. I still kind of leave the door open, but I can tell you right now, even the fire pit with the door wide open over here, my Maverick says at the far end of the pit it's 127 degrees. I don't know if you can get a handle on that from here, but there it is, and it's time to close the door to the pit. Okay, and you can tell from here, okay, this needle is starting to move. It also is showing about 125 degrees up here from the heat level going near the chimney. I was a foolish boy. I forgot to open up my vent over here, but now it's open. And you got to remember that too, so don't forget, based on my little error, you need to do that, but I usually recognize it before it's too late. And so I got this going. The coals are turning white on the bottom. They're moving up slowly, like a minion method, if you will. But in another 15 minutes, this whole thing will be ablaze, and I'm just going to leave it like this. I'm going to just leave the door open, a slight edge like this. And I'm going to close the top lid now, and I'm just going to let it ferment, if you will. Bad word, but that's what it's going to go on, and the heat will continue to rise inside the machine. So again, we have the door slightly ajar, the heat will build up, and the coals will eventually all take over. And then I will start putting on the wood that I have located down here. Okay. See you later. Those two little logs got hot enough that I took one of the big ones and shoved it on, and now I'm hoping that this will burn down and create a nice hot steady bed of coals in order to feed the fire. And I see the fire is already at 142. This is going to go for another 15 minutes probably. As soon as it hits 200 degrees, I'm going to shut the dampers on the side over here. Let me see if I get around. I'm not doing too good on the feet, so here we are. So what I will do is kick this just like that. When it hits 200, 215, something, if I come out here and look, and whatever it is over 200, I'm gonna do that. I will have this closed, and right now, as you can see, these pieces of wood, as I explained before, are very, very dry. I pick them up for $9.95 a bag for 1.5 cubic feet, and it's smoking really good now. So I'm going to close the lid and let this thing go. Okay, we'll catch you in a while. Okay, just wanted to interject one thing. I'm not really going to go over a whole lot about these ribs, but this is the reason why we're firing up the smoker today, and I have these now being prepared, so they're ready to go on as soon as the temperature hits about 220, 225, and I'm going to try to keep it at 225 all day long until they're done. Okay, you can see it. There's a nice light smoke coming out of the chimney here. The temperature is now just moved across 200. I've got the door slightly ajar. Almost fell over. That would have been a good scene. Crash. And it's time to put the ribs on, which I will do right now. Okay, the ribs are on. I'm going to bring the temperature back to 200, 225, and then we're on the way to hopefully a nice dinner. All right, we've got this fire going good. Ribs are on. I'm going to close this down. I'm going to shut off this door, which is pretty hot, and I should have put a glove on. I'm going to move this halfway. That should do it. And we're in business. Nice smoke. Okay. Okay, it's 10 minutes later. As you can see, I'm approaching 225, and this is exactly where I want to be, and I want to be this way for the next 5.5 hours. And that's the way it's cooking. I got the smoke where I want it, and it's doing very nicely. So unlike a pellet smoker or one of the other smokers, this requires a lot more attention than a pellet smoker, obviously, and because you're constantly monitoring airflow, and I always check and look out to see what color the smoke is. The smoke color will give you a good indication of whether or not you're at the temperature you want to be at. Okay, we'll catch you later. Okay, there's a break in the Florida-Miami game, and so I decided to come out and take a look. I got a nice steady stream of smoke, as you can see. The temperature looks like it's around 225. It's doing exactly what I want it to do. And just want to show you something, though. The Maverick says 199. This says 225, so they're never equal. But what happens is I interpolate. So if there's a 25-degree difference and I'm sitting in my house between the Maverick and the thermometer on the smoker, I always look at the Maverick in the house, and then I just add 25 or 30 degrees to it, and then I can figure out where the smoker really is. So if I see the Maverick go up any further, I know that I've got to shut the wind down to the airflow down to the fire, so that I can lower the temperature. All right, catch you later. Okay, I just opened this thing up. Got a piece of wood on it, and it looks like it's moving along. I got a temperature started going up almost to 250, and that's a little higher than I want, but I'm going to be changing it pretty soon. So that's it, and have a nice light smoke coming out. Okay, it's 5 hours ago. Temperature is at 225. It stayed there for the entire cook. I'm going to let it stay on for another half an hour. In terms of processing the airflow, I've opened up the dampers all the way. I haven't added any more fuel for over an hour because I want the fire to die down, and what it's running on is pure coals at this point in time. Very little smoke is being generated because all I have left is just plain smoke. As I said before, the temperature is at 225, and I expect to take this off in about a half an hour. Okay, we'll talk to you later. As you can see, I have removed the ribs. This is all that's left. The way I do this is I time it so it will go down and burn itself into ash by the end of the cook. If it was a 10-hour cook, I would have kept going until the last 2 hours, but what I've maintained is a steady 225 degree temperature, and this is the last of all the wood. So I used maybe 6 small pieces of wood through the entire cooking process, and I have not used any additional charcoal whatsoever. So the first charcoal that I applied was it. As you can see, it's almost all burned down, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this now go out so that tomorrow morning I am going to clean this whole thing out and toss the ashes in a safe can. Okay, that's the end of this cook. I may come back with an epilogue just to show you the ribs, but that's the whole purpose of this, was managing the fire and starting the fire and getting it all through the process. Okay.